Islanders able to advance into the second round, and it was 2-1 after 2, and down the stretch, Islanders trying to hold on to that one-goal lead.
They did, and everyone rallying and playing really well. It's those little things when it comes down to the final couple of minutes, and then just before this, they pull the goaltender, and they're playing so well in the defensive zone, establishing good position, good movement. Again, Leonard again solid in his crease. Kunak with a nice shot block on the shot from the point. Again, even though they had chances getting their active sticks, Komarov clears it there, getting yourselves back into good positioning. Komarov getting the stick, but again, clearing the middle where Leonard again has a good look at that shot in the final minute. And then Bailey off the draw. Both Filppula and Bailey battling really well on the face-off and allowing Bailey to get that clearing opportunity and to seal it with that nice empty net win. And Bailey, he's the one that got the overtime winner to finish Game 1, and then the empty net goal to finish off Game 4 and complete the sweep.
All right, so Bailey with the empty net goal to seal things. Brock Nelson had a key goal tonight. In fact, it turned out to be the game-winning goal. Eberle, 4 goals. First Islander since Ray Ferraro in the 1993 quarterfinals to score at least 1 goal in 4 straight playoff games, the first 4 of a series. Nelson, the big goal tonight. Matthew Barzal, another assist tonight. And Josh Bailey, the 3 goals. Put it all together. Islanders moving on to the second round. Let us now bring in Brendan Burke and Butch Goring from Pittsburgh. Guys, you've been there since the very beginning of the season. You obviously had some great games here through the playoffs. What was most important to you guys in terms of how they were able to get this done?
I'll default to you, Butch. I think it's been there's plenty to choose from. Let's put it that way.
There really is. I mean, these guys have played a similar game all season long, and they seem to have gotten better and better. They've built on their structure. They've built on their process. But you know, the one guy that's really turned it up. I mean, he started to get a little hot down the stretch run, but in the playoffs, Jordan Eberle's been a completely different hockey player. He has been a dominant hockey player. I mean, you talk about all the elite hockey players there are in the world, and you had a couple of them here with Crosby and Malkin, but Jordan Eberle outplayed them all. I mean, he could have scored. Brendan and I were talking. He could have scored 6 or 7 goals easily, and he scored them at key times. He always found a way to score differently. But you and I were talking about Brendan. He's on the inside of the dots all the time. He's shooting the puck more, playing with a lot more confidence. That was a terrific shot up and over in the toy department. Hit the crossbar later on in the game, but he did so much more. I mean, he was using his speed to create opportunities not only for himself but for his teammates. He worked hard along the boards. He was tenacious. He was that go-get-him forechecker that he certainly the ability that he possesses, and he came back hard. He was solid in his own zone. He blocked shots. So he just did everything. It's almost like, okay, I didn't have a season that I wanted to have, but I'm going to show you that this is the player that you can expect game in and game out, and he wants to certainly make a very positive impression in these playoffs, and boy, boys, he got off to a good start.
And he's a free agent on July 1, so that works out quite well for him, too. Jordan Eberle with an incredible series. But as this series played out, one thing that became immediately apparent and really showed itself through the 4 games, the Islanders are so structured, detail-oriented, and the Pittsburgh Penguins were not in this series.
No, the Pittsburgh Penguins in many ways beat themselves. The Islanders with their patience and you're right, their structure, they just didn't give up a whole lot of odd-man rushes, and the opposite could be said for the Pittsburgh team. They gave up odd-man rushes, particularly at key moments during the game. When the Penguins came out in tonight's game, they got an early goal, they were on track, and what do? They give up an odd-man rush. So, I mean, that's been their Achilles heel through this whole playoff series, is the inability to sustain good, solid pressure, but to play good, smart hockey. On the other side of the coin, the Islanders have been way ahead of them. They got all the brains during this season and during this series, and it showed time after time during these playoffs.
All right, Butchie, all of a sudden, we're done. There's still work to be done, but not by us. We're out of here.
We're unemployed. Okay.
Let's go back to the studio, Bill Pidto.
Butch, hit him straight this summer, all right, buddy?
You got it.
All right, Brendan, great year. Thanks so much for the contributions here to the postgame show for sure. All right, so Brock Nelson. 3 goals in the series, and tonight a key goal with 1:54 to go at the end of the first period makes it 2-1. But from start to finish throughout this series, Brock Nelson made a huge impact.
He's been steady, and we talked going into this game about his consistency, which carried through here on Game 4. But here's a look at his play throughout the series. He was matched up against Crosby, playing well on the physical side of the game, maintaining good, solid positioning, and then doing great in terms of his offensive contributions as well. You talked about those 3 goals. Here's a look at the game-winning goal that he had in Game 3, creating the 2-on-1 advantage and a beautiful shot there. So he gets the game winner there, and then again tonight responds by getting himself in a great position there in front of the net and buries the puck. And you talk about leadership on this team and somebody who wants to be steady. And I asked him specifically, just coming into this series, this playoff series, I asked about his strong play. And he said, well, coming into this, I had conversations with Trotz, and throughout the season, he believed that I could rise to the occasion. He really presented me with an opportunity to be a leader. Well, he certainly made the most of that opportunity at the end of the regular season and here in the playoffs. When you have 2 game-winning goals in a 4-game series sweep, that's some pretty solid play by Nelson.
All right, but the big story, the defense of the New York Islanders. They give up 6 goals. That is it, the entire series. This young D pair, each 24 years old, Ryan Pulock and Adam Pelech, can we just call them P&P?
Yes.
Did not allow Sidney Crosby to score at all. A different look here presented by Northwell Health.
And I mean, Pulock and Pelech really sort of earned their way into the spot of the top D pairing. I mean, earlier in the season, Trotz said, I do feel comfortable playing all 6D, but both these guys really elevated their play in terms of strong positional play, battling in the corners, establishing a really good transition game for the Islanders, exactly what they needed. I mean, Pulock played all 82 games in the regular season. He led the team with over 22 minutes of total ice time per game. And for Pelech, he actually sat out a couple of games earlier in the season, and Trotz said he needed more consistency. And Trotz told the story, he said, when I sat down with him for the 3rd time, we finally figured it out and expressed that he really believed in Pelech and his potential and what he could become. And mentally, he said he could just learn to let go on mistakes. And from that, both of them have really flourished as a pair in terms of stepping up on pressure. Again, they faced the Crosby line a lot. One of the top, perhaps the top player in the world, and shut them down. So in terms of smart defensive plays, battling hard, playing a physical game. And these two actually were roommates back in the AHL before they both earned their spots here with the Islanders roster. But what a turnaround really season for all of them, and for these two specifically, 24 years old, blocking shots, really in terms of being complete defense pairing. These two have been really, really solid.
How about Barry Trotz? Wins the Cup last year with the Caps. Ends up coming to the Islanders, 103 points during the regular season, the best regular season they've had since '83-'84, and now a first-round sweep of the Penguins.